Good morning, all, and congratulations, class of 2019. It's an honor to be with you, and I'm humbled to be in the presence of Justin, who did such an extraordinary job. Oh my God, the pressure's on, the pressure's on. So I'm proud to accept this honorary Doctor of Human Letters. I do so in this 300th anniversary year of our founder and this university's namesake, John Baptist de La Salle. And I do so in the name of the brothers and their colleagues here, present and past, who have embraced the LaSallian mission as their own. Thanks for this very nice introduction, Brother John. It's like, oh my God, wow, we're right at the brink of fake news here. So it was remarkable, but I must tell you that I'm a most unremarkable person, and anybody that knows me will certainly nod their head. Perhaps like some of you, it took me a while to figure out what my path in life would be. However, when we fall in love, discover our life's work, and come to realize the essential principles that guide us, we come to know our life's mission. We come to know this through the knowledge of our talents, our strengths, and what gives us joy. And we also come to this at the cost of our innocence, through our failures, through the poor decisions that we've made, and even through the harm we cause to others, usually the people that we care most about. Let me begin with a timeless quote from Robert F. Kennedy made at the University of Georgia Law School in 1961. All of us might wish at times that we lived in a more tranquil world, but we do not. And if our times are difficult and perplexing, so are they challenging and filled with opportunity. This quote has great resonance for us today. Our world, our nation, our church have surely overwhelmed us in the ways in which they fail us, divide us, sadden us, and even horrify us in their moral atrocities. Our times are difficult and perplexing. It is tempting just to turn away, to focus on our own needs and pleasures, and to become unfeeling. Yet, this is our one and only world. It is a broken yet beautiful world. And it's the world wherein we are called to take our place and to make a difference. Let me share with you something of God's love and purpose, about how God continues to come to us in the flesh, in one another, through one another, which I came to appreciate through 28 years of working with hundreds of poor and hope-starved young men in Philadelphia and the extraordinary women and men who cared about them. These guys, just a few years younger than you, committed terrible crimes, hurt others, were arrested, adjudicated delinquent, and committed to our care at St. Gabriel's Hall, a LaSallian work since 1898. Some 35 years ago, I met a man at St. Gabriel's Hall whose name was Love. He was a big man in whose presence you immediately felt strength and goodness. He grew up in Alabama and earned a football scholarship to Alabama A&M University. He was a supervisor of construction for a big home builder in the Philly area. One summer day, he drove by St. Gabriel's Hall, and seeing the massive building and some 200 boys out on the playing fields, he couldn't resist the urge to stop. And in no time, he became the heart of the Gabes. Love worked with the oldest and biggest of the young men in residence, and soon he knew all 200 of them. Though he knew them all personally, he wasn't so good at names, and he just greeted us all with a great smile. And, "Hey, Love, how you doing today?" "Hey, Love, how you doing today?" Soon he was simply known as Love. Love had a gift for knowing who our most hurt and angry guys were, and making them feel safe in his presence. Most often, these were the most damaged, the least loved, and the least likely to have family that cared about them. This also made them the most dangerous and the most likely to spend a good portion of their lives incarcerated. One summer evening, as I was leaving the residence, I passed Love sitting on a park bench under a tall pine with one of the most volatile boys in the program. Love just had a hunch that this wasn't going to be a good day for this young man. So halfway home, a few hours earlier, Love just turned around and drove back to the Gabes. Sure enough, our young man had gotten into a serious fight, even pushing a staff member to the ground. Long after sunset, I returned to the Gabes, and Love was still sitting on that bench with our young man, whose head was bowed now and his shoulders relaxed. The next morning when I saw Love, I asked him how his chat went. He smiled. Well, mostly we just sat on the bench for the longest time and stared at Valley Forge Park. Then I asked him how he was feeling, and with that, he just cried his heart out. You know then, bro, I just had to fuss with him a little, but we had a good talk. The best thing is I'm in his head now. The next time he thinks about going off, he's going to think of me sitting on that bench with him for 3 hours, and he's going to hear Love's voice. He's going to hear Love's voice. After a while, this young man started to seek Love out and was even seen with a smile on his face when Love looked his way. Love for me is the iconic image of the loving Father in the story of the prodigal son, and representational of so many women and men at St. Gabe's who sought these boys out, who saw something good in them that they couldn't see in themselves, who believed in them and who got into their heads, and who, like so many good Samaritans, bound up their wounds, lifted them up from the side of the road where they had been left for dead. So what does this have to do with your graduation today? A lot, I hope. Most of you made it to this moment because someone loved you and believed in you. And chances are real good that someone, those someones, are nearby this morning. But each of us along the way has been that prodigal son or daughter of the gospel, just hoping someone would come looking for us, seeing the good in us and welcome us back home with open arms. Someone who can look beyond our selfishness, beyond our foolishness, and even beyond our sinfulness, and just see their beloved child. I'm sure those folks who love and believe in you have some wonderful stories they could share with us this morning. Today, the Lasallian mission is carried out by nearly 100,000 Lasallian partners and De La Salle brothers, serving over 1 million students globally. At the heart of this educational mission are the needs and aspirations of young people of all cultures, races, and creeds, a deeper awareness of our connectedness as sisters and brothers, an intentional concern for those who are pushed to the margins of life, and the gospel of Jesus which compels this mission. You are now part of this living tradition that calls on you to impact the world by working for the common good in all that you do. Yes, do well for yourself and for your family, but also do justice by others and for our common home, this earth. LaSalle's mission statement and 4 core values speak eloquently to this living tradition. Pope Francis wrote in The Joy of the Gospel, I am a mission on this earth. When he speaks of I, he's talking about each one of us individually as a mission on this earth. That is the reason why I am here in this world. And we are, he says further, to bear witness to love. That first love, that extravagant love of God, whose love for us is unrelenting and unwavering. That love that calls us to love our neighbors as ourselves, especially that inconvenient neighbor who is in need. Your education has been about taking responsibility, about becoming engaged citizens who are motivated by the common good and the gospel, to make the world as God intends it to be, for the sake of love. We can't take care of all the world's ills, but what we can do, we must do. It's as simple as our friend Love sitting on a bench with a lost boy, staring at Valley Forge Park in the distance. There is not one of you here today who doesn't want your life to matter, to make a difference in the world. Drawing on the parable of the Good Samaritan, Pope Francis reminds us that all it takes is one person to stop along the side of that road to help. A single individual is enough for hope to exist, and that individual can be you. And then Francis tells us there will be another you, and it turns into an us. The value of your LaSalle education will not be found in the diploma you received this morning. Its real worth is in the person you have become, the values you embody, and the actions you take in partnering with God to bring about a world that is more just and compassionate. Here again, the words of Robert Kennedy and Pope Francis. All of us might wish at times that we lived in a more tranquil world, but we do not. And if our times are difficult and perplexing, so are they challenging and filled with opportunity. And a single individual is enough for hope to exist, and that individual can be you. God bless you, and don't hold back.